Oh, God, help us. Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order, please. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let me get my announcement folder here. Tomorrow, April 13th, is the final date. Okay, that's right. I was reading it because it talks about election. I said, we already had one. But it's different. It reads, tomorrow, April 13th, is the final date of candidates for town offices to apply to the town clerk for a recount of the election results. Thursday, April 26th at 7 p.m. is a regular meeting here in the Matthew Thornton Room. Two other regular meetings will occur on Thursday, May 10th at 7 p.m. and Thursday, May 24th, both here in the Matthew Thornton Room. Eileen?
Announcements. You know I'm going to give you a little PFOA update also.
Okay.
But I know it's after that, but I just wanted
Okay,
to. Okay.
very good.
So the Parks and Recreation Department and Public Works Department are organizing a community cleanup day. Parks cleanup day of Merrimack's parks, open spaces, and adopted road locations to celebrate Earth Day on Sunday, April 22nd from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Show your love for Merrimack by signing up to be part of the park cleanup celebration and help us make Merrimack beautiful for the start of spring. Interested individuals can sign up by calling the Parks and Recreation Department at 882-1046 or registering online at www.merrimackparksandrec.org. Currently, we have 16 groups equaling more than 100 people signed up to clean a variety of locations in town. The skateboard park is now open for the season. Please note that the park is closed between dusk and dawn and or the discretion of the Parks and Recreation Department. Very important. I believe Diane said there's some 2,200 dog scofflaws that haven't been licensed. So, just please keep in mind that a license is something like $7, and if you don't pay, it's $30-something. So please, please come in and register your dogs. They are now available, and they're due by April 30th.
A spayed dog is $7.50, an unspayed dog is $10, and 5 or more
How
dogs
do
is
you
a
know
group
that?
license, which is $20.
How do you know that?
I refer the right honorable lady to what I do in my hobby outside of.
Okay.
Thank you.
And
Thank
senior
you.
citizens are 5.
Oh.
That's right, senior
Okay.
citizens 5.
I won't
Does
ask how
that,
you know that.
does that apply? How do you know your dog is a senior citizen? Sorry.
It's
Good
self-selected.
save. That's it. Okay, PFOA update. Eileen?
I already did it.
First of all, we're happy to note that Saint-Gobain is stepping right up to the plate to get started on bringing water to the properties, the private well properties affected by PFCs in the disputed areas that we've been discussing. So as part of the settlement agreement between Saint-Gobain and New Hampshire DES to bring water to the properties affected by PFCs, Saint-Gobain has contracted with New York and New Hampshire engineering firms to plan for the project. The town and the MVD staff met with the engineers this week to discuss the project requirements and permitting process. Over the next month, the engineering firms will develop plans for review by the town. A contractor has already been selected for the work that will occur for the properties on the north end of DW Highway and expect to bid the work for the remainder of the Merrimack parcels by the end of May. All work is expected to be completed this summer. Thank you.
Thank you. Highway garage project. I'm sorry, Bill, go ahead.
Yeah, just a reminder.
Certainly. Go ahead.
Yeah, the subcommittee has not met, just to let you know, but the reminder that the New Hampshire Drinking Water and Groundwater Advisory Commission will be having a public hearing on Wednesday, April 18th at 8:30 a.m. on Hazen Drive in Concord at the Department of Environmental Services, I believe, to talk about the criteria as it relates to for municipalities to make application for grants and loans from the MTBE Trust Fund.
And what date is that again?
It's going to be next Wednesday, April 18th,
18th.
and I will be in attendance.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
I'm sure you'll let us know how that
Oh, absolutely,
continues.
absolutely.
Anything else? Okay, highway garage project update. Jackie or Finley?
We met yesterday with the Turnbridge Associates, and a lot of the time was spent discussing the looks of the garage building. Because of value engineering, trying to cut the costs, this is an inflationary period in the building trades, and it's difficult. So we have to keep cutting little things, and sometimes big things. We chose the color of the garage just so you can start picturing it. It's going to be a shade of gray, medium most likely, with crisp white trim, and possibly darker doors, depending on whether we have to really just really watch the budget if the garage doors aren't terribly more expensive, and hopefully they're going to be the same. They'll be a slightly darker color. There was talk about what areas will be paved for parking and which might be able to be left gravel, and where exactly the entrance will be. So we're still really talking about kind of basic things, actually, and we still hope to break ground next month.
Thank you very much.
Paul might have something to add.
Anything, Paul? Add?
We're planning on coming before the council on April 26th with rendering and finalized plans, as finalized as possible.
The next meeting.
Also, we're thinking of doing groundbreaking ceremony around May 5th at the Highway Garage in coordination with their open house. So stay tuned, more to come.
More to follow. Okay, comments from the press or public?
Wendy Thomas, 10 Wildcat Falls. The first thing that I want to tell you is just simply an FYI. I've made a formal request to DES and DHHS to get a copy of the complete data file that was used for the cancer incidence report in Merrimack. The data that they used was up to and including 2014. I've also asked for years 2015, 2016, 2017, and if applicable, 2018. Once I get that information, I have somebody that is planning to review it. So I'm just letting you know. The second thing I wanted to say is the agreement between Saint-Gobain and DES. It's a start. It's certainly a start. But it doesn't help those of us that our water is contaminated and our wells are testing above 35 parts per trillion. And so I don't know where it stands. I don't know if they're going to look at the entire town or if those of us that are outside of what they're calling the zone of contamination, who are clearly contaminated, are just out of luck. So I'm following that closely. I want to remind you that our well tested at 45 parts per trillion. And right now, as far as I know, there's no monitoring of our well, and there's no way to fix our well. So that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. Anyone else? Seeing none, let's move on to recognitions, resignations, and retirements. Recognition of Town Council member Paul McLaughlin, who has resigned from the Planning Board. His work, no, Town Committee, I'm sorry. Did I say council?
You said council.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. And it's only the United Yet Young when I'm making these mistakes. Okay, so he's unable to come this evening, but I would like to read the certificate that he will be receiving. Presented to Paul F. McLaughlin, Jr. in recognition of your service as a member of the Planning Board, and recognition of your dedication and commitment to public service during your appointment as a member of the Planning Board. Your service and devotion to the Planning Board has had a valuable effect upon this community. We wish to extend to you our sincere appreciation for your outstanding performance of duty from January 2017 till April 2018. Thank you very much, Paul. And we wish you luck in your new position that's taken your attention away from us. But we, again, appreciate your service to the town. Yes, Tom.
Yeah, I was just wanting to add, because I served with him on the planning board, I really did appreciate his stepping up and joining us, even though for a very short time. He was thoughtful and definitely was an asset to the town, to the committee. And it's a shame to see him go. We've just gotten him recently appointed as a full-time member, and unfortunately with jobs and family and things of that nature, he just wasn't able to keep it up. But we certainly appreciate him and anybody else who's willing to put up some time and join us and help us out with the various different committees in town. So thanks very much, Paul.
Unfortunately, we just had recently 2 full-time planning board appointments. So, okay, appointments. Annual review with the Parks and Recreation Committee. Come on down. Per Town of Merrimack Charter, Section 6-6, at least annually, there should be an annual review with the Parks and Recreation Committee. This agenda item is to highlight the committee's significant actions, current projects, anticipated actions, and to raise any concerns. What's going on around me here? To raise any concerns, you think it's easy. To raise any concerns the council should know or act upon. Good evening.
Really? Good evening, Fred.
This wall's high for a reason. Build that wall.
Cheer,
Well,
Laura
good eve-
Janes.
Thank you. Good evening, friends of Merrimack, and here we are. I am Laura James, and I live at 6 High Noon Avenue in Merrimack. We've raised 2 children here, and this is my 42nd year living there. Matt could not be here tonight to help out, but we can save those questions for him for later because he's on it. But I wanted to also introduce the co-chair this year, Christine Lavoie, who has been steadfast in her pursuit of good dog parks. She is the coordinator of the subcommittee and has been for 8 years, quite a while, yes. So I'm speaking to you as the current P&R chair because Mr. Christensen, Chris Christensen, was chair for many years, and his shoes are hard to fill, and I particularly miss his speaking skills, but I will do my best. I am pleased over the last year, we've added 2 new members, one being sworn in tonight. Our memberships include certainly the town council, the school board, the MYA, the Merrimack Senior Club, and 6 members at large. We still have a couple of alternate positions, but recently have had an inquiry by a high school student, so we'll see where that goes. Now, we do meet monthly, every 3rd Wednesday, and we now hold our meetings in here at the Matthew Thornton Room for residents' viewing pleasure, because they couldn't video so well back in the conference room. So now we sit on that side, and it's
So now you know why we have 'em.
different point of, yeah, different point of view, and a calendar.
Yeah.
But I do want to, before I start, thank you for all your support in the budget with the program coordinator, Megan Boisvert.
Close enough.
She is an exception, and she's working with Matthew, of course, and she's an exceptional, capable young lady, and who has added much to the programming and event planning. She's got so many things out there, and she shows up at all the activities with a lot of energy and spirit, and she's really awesome. And I also appreciate that we can use the function hall more and more. We have also the duty, the committee has the duty of examining issues brought before us. We serve, as you know, as an advisory board. Matt then communicates with you folks, who then take it to Eileen and make it happen. But we also do a lot. The other way around? Well,
It's kind of like, sure.
so the committee also, we do spend a lot of time on the regulatory, the rules, the regulations, and the ordinances, because those are changing all the time with as the needs change with more usage of the different parks in town. We also and we've done a lot with the reviewing and recommendations on the rules for renting the park facilities, because now that Wasserman's up and running, we would like to see that used more for events and personal and private. And I think Matt and Megan have done a fine job offering like toddler programs now. If you've seen the new spring-summer programming, there's quite an array from all ages. But again, we continuously review those park ordinances as the uses change, and many things do come up that we don't anticipate. While Matt and Megan perform many functions independently, they also keep the committee informed of what's going on. So along with that, their staff, the committee partners with other organizations. We run community events all year long as volunteers. But we also, the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts are really involved now with many projects. The public library is huge right now. We collaborate with them and the public schools, as well as some of the nonprofit community groups, which Merrimack Friends and Family, they're always there to pitch in. This past year, too, we've had 3 Eagle Scout projects going on. So Matt is great with helping that and finding things for them to work on, and it's perfect. And as I said, we participate in the events throughout town, and what we've noticed after the last couple of big events, there are many, many new young families, huge amount of families coming, and they don't know about these things, but the publicity, and now they're coming. The Easter egg hunt was typically in the snow with 12,000 eggs, but there was 1- and 2-year-olds, and they're all out there. They were all out there looking for eggs. Little baskets in the snow. But it is still great. I'm so grateful to see Wasserman being used for those kinds of things. And I notice those same things at the Halloween parties, things like that. We're overflowing all the time. But then we have 2 very busy subcommittees. The Friends of the Dog Park have been successful last year in finishing major construction at the dog park. And of course, that's conveniently located now at the south end of the south parking lot at Wasserman. After much discussion and review, and I think it's working out very nicely. And a grand opening was held in the spring of last year. We keep making recommendations and rules of the dog park as they come up.
Like any park.
Yep, like any park. But this year there is a plan in process, I believe, with a Girl Scout troop to actually build a shed. I'm not sure that came before you, but
it did.
But I thought it was great
did.
that the girls actually want to build it. So rather than
And they're selling
prefab.
dog biscuits.
Yeah,
And whoopie pies.
and whoopie pies. And Christine can speak to this more if she wants, but the attendance at the dog park, because I drive by a lot, continues to increase. I see many cars there many times, but also the Friends of the Park offer some workshops, socializing dogs, training dogs,
Nice.
first aid. Yeah, and so that's a big draw, because as a former dog owner, I could use that training myself. And of course, then we do have a subcommittee that is constantly looking at the athletic fields needs. And that's what they're continuing to work on, and creative thinking has to be done, because we have visited this years ago, but things are changing all the time. And so, of course, with the deadline for change at O'Gara coming up, this group is working hard. We're all working hard to provide input as to what are we going to do with the ice rink, the skateboard park, the tennis, and the basketball courts. We've had people come up with concerns, but as of yet, there's no subcommittee for the skateboard park people. But that would be encouraged to get their input on where they would like to see it. So those are things coming up, and I appreciate your time and effort, and look forward to working with planning and goal setting for the fun of Merrimack, the parks.
Excellent. Questions or comments from
questions,
the council?
comments?
Bill, and then Tom?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Christine, I happened to be at the dog park about a month ago. I think we talked about this, just to
Yeah.
tell people that I thought the mulch was kind of getting old, if that's the lack of a better term. We're going to be replenishing the mulch in the dog park area for both the small and the large dogs.
One of my favorite subjects. Can you hear me?
Mulch.
Mulch. So as you know, most of you know, we're part of the committee or heard about how the process went for the dog park. There wasn't enough funds to really properly put the footing in that we were looking for. In the build process, the park was put further up towards the parking lot instead of about 15 feet back. And excuse me, what caused that, the process, that is causing a slope in the dog park. And as you know, a slope, things roll downhill. So as the play gets active, the mulch goes down. So,
So you need to terrace it somehow.
well, I don't think terracing would be it would be a safety issue. I think it's going to be an ongoing something that we're going to have to look at fundraising for mulch being brought in. And so the committee, Paul could answer this, I think we're pretty close to $2,000 in the committee, dog park committee, and so we are looking actively to do more mulching this year. We did 40 yards last year, and if you happen to see any of the pictures, it covered maybe the top quarter on both sides. So we're looking to have maybe another 40 to another 80 yards, and that's about 3 inches deep. And that's a pretty good cost I think we got. They dropped it in, and the volunteers, we all, in the wheelbarrows, and did the shoveling. And so that should bring us down to 2/3 on both sides. And that's where most of the play takes place. And that's playground mulch, so it's smaller and softer, and it is sifted so that there's no debris. Like if we got on the road mulch, like say from trees down and stuff like that, you could get the more boulders and rocks and different metals that could come in and could injure the dogs or the kids that are playing in the dog park. So that's one thing we are looking at, because what was put down was 3 inches of shreds, and I call it sticks, which dogs love sticks. So you know those big sticks, there's small sticks, and they all disappear because the dogs loved them. So that's in the process of this year, and we'll have to figure out budgeting for that. And mud. We want to make sure we don't get any trucks stuck.
More?
Just one follow-up question to Laura, just for the committee's consideration. Just speaking as one counselor, as the town manager announced tonight, the skateboard park has opened for another year. But and like I said, maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but if the Parks and Rec wanted to have preliminary discussions about sites for specifically the skateboard park in general, I would not complain. I think the quicker we begin to have a conversation about that, I think if a decision is made that we do have to move the skateboard park, I'd like to have at least a thought process in place where conversations have begun. So,
And I think Matt is probably planning to contact the few people that did come with the kids. Actually, the young people that want a skateboard came with them, and they really want to have it in a good place. So we're hoping that they'll step up a little bit and give us some ideas too. So,
okay, good. And thank you to everybody on the committee for the work that you do.
well, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you too.
Thank you, Madam
John?
Chair.
Yeah, just a quick question. The dog park committee, though, so you do programs and things like the first aid you're doing for the park at the dog park. Is that advertised anywhere? Is it on the website? Is it?
It will be, so
Okay.
we'll coordinate, and once we have a date and a time, and if we end up having to hire somebody to do that, then we would need to get that approved through the Parks and Rec Committee, and from there, we post it out on the Facebook page, and Matt will share on the website and his Facebook page and get that word
Yeah,
out.
because I think that should be
Yeah.
part of the our website, the
Good
town's website, and on Parks
Oh,
and Rec and all stuff
I'll
like
let
that. That's
Matt
what I'm thinking.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'd
just
let
to
Matt
get it
know.
out. So.
Yep, and we run play groups with some of the other things, and that's the way what happens is we make sure a committee member is there and to help monitor that play and explain the processes and thought processes of monitoring that so that the dogs don't get too excited and, you know, it's spring, so they're all excited.
Well, congratulations on the job well done
Thank
for you
you.
guys. I mean, I was on Parks and Rec, so I love
I
the
know.
committee.
And
You're not biased, are I?
And I do want to mention that Matt followed through too with a dumpster, a
That's
big
right.
dumpster,
You now have a
because
dumpster.
there is an issue with disposal of things, and the regular trash things were filling up with bags, plastic bags full of, so hopefully this will manage that a little better with an
So-
actual dumpster. Maybe you know more about that.
Sure. So as when the park opened, basically, we started with one dumpster, and there was, as you know,
One
for
trash
prior
can.
discussion, one trash can,
There
right?
you
And so there was a lot of activity, and people were really coming to the dog park and utilizing it. We filled that. Matt brought us a second one, and that was being filled as well. So it's a blessing and a curse.
Exactly.
So it's
Goes
been
with the-
wonderful, and
Goes
DPW
with the
does the-
territory.
exactly. I'm happy they're picking up,
That's right.
so that's good.
That's right.
And so DPW was picking up pretty much on a weekly basis, but it gets, you know, overwhelming. So the thought process was to get the dumpster and see if that will help with that. So we'll find out as the year progresses.
Great. Pete?
So Christine, is there somebody we should talk to as a council or the town manager regarding that issue, the dumpster issue or anything? Is there anybody?
No,
Okay,
no, I think it's a done deal.
Matt made it happen.
okay.
Matt and Kyle, I think it was Kyle.
Okay,
Matt and
they've
Kyle.
all talked.
Kyle,
Okay.
yeah.
They're
Together. To
they're
get
working it
done.
out.
All right. And the only other thing
there.
is, and I know it came up in the budget and it didn't make it through the budget, but the waterfront, I understand the Parks and Rec are gonna still focus on working on that. I think there, actually, we found out though there was some more research that had to be done, so.
Oh, absolutely, and I appreciate
Yeah.
you
Yep.
acknowledging that,
Okay.
because
All right, and I just want to say thanks to Laura and Christine, and you guys are great. You've done a great job, and the rest of the committee has really done an outstanding job. It's great to work with you
Thank you.
guys.
Thank you.
Well,
Likewise.
it's exciting for us too, because we have some new blood too that's come aboard, and
She's sitting right behind you.
some of,
I think she's
and some
blushing.
of us are old blood, but
I was
we
going
won't
to say
go
nothing
there.
wrong with the old blood either.
That's true.
I can't say we've been there, done that, because it's not true. It's new thinking, but there's some creativity going on. With the
Absolutely.
new members, it's quite
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you as well.
Thank you.
And I think the Parks and Rec Committee has been very active, has brought a lot of positive things to the town. Matt's done a terrific job as well.
He is amazing.
Yeah.
And I think he's signing his kids up tonight for.
But it also, it's a working, it's complementary. Matt's also a go-getter, but he also has a committee that's supportive of him, and vice versa, so it works out well for everyone.
Yeah,
So
he's
thank you
definitely-
very,
You're welcome. He's definitely grown a lot of these programs. It's
yeah, we
been
have to hold them
wonderful
back,
to see. Yeah.
Yeah.
which is a nice problem to have.
And even I didn't realize that by charter, we have to have this advisory committee.
Right.
Because Matt could fly solo the whole thing,
But-
but this is a better process.
But again, it's the support,
Yeah.
and to
it-
be able to
we're still
get
a
community
town.
feedback.
Exactly.
Any
We're still a
department
town.
needs that.
And I appreciate Peter addressing the waterfront, because that's coming.
Yeah, it'll
And
come.
it is, there's so many things on the waterfront that you have to watch out for, and be careful about permits and
Right,
good stuff
exactly.
like that. So
DES, right.
Make-
Okay, thank you very much,
Congratulations to all of
ladies.
you, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tell Stephen hello. Stephen.
I thought you said stupid.
Whoa.
I think Tom's getting traumatized. I don't know what happened.
This is a public hearing regarding the Abby Griffin Memorial Fund. Town Council will hold a public hearing to authorize the acceptance and expenditure of funds from the Abby Griffin Memorial Fund in the amount of, but not to exceed, $50,000, and I'm going to let the appropriate people make the presentation. This has to do with the fire department and the police department. The Abby Griffin, usually the distribution is split in half between the two, and they come before us and tell us how they want to spend it. Is that right, Paul?
100% correct, Madam Chair.
So the fire department is going first, I see.
Well, you have our name first, so we're going to give it a shot that way.
Chief Courier, you want to start?
Good morning, Honorable Town Council, Madam Town Manager, Finance Director
Morning.
Paul McCallie.
Well, it's
Good
morning to
evening.
him,
Thank you.
perhaps.
It's all morning to me. Everything's morning and every day's a Monday.
That's depressing.
Well, every call we go on is an emergency. Nothing's fun.
True.
It's always somebody's having their worst day and we have to make it better for them.
Yeah, right.
So, pardon?
Go right ahead.
As it was stated earlier that the Abby Griffin Fund, and we are very honored to have that from citizens within our community leaving funds for emergency services. We are allowed to spend the interest off that annually, and some of the guidelines that I was provided, it's usually something that's not in your annual budget or something that's usually not in your budget process. Over the years, we've bought many items that benefit the community and the fire department. And this year, we sat down and we had a list of stuff from the staff and went through. And one of the most important things I think this year we're looking at is physical fitness equipment from the gym. Over the years, we've been looking at our workman's comp claims and how they're increasing, and how some of the patients and houses that we're trying to move people through a little bit tighter. Physical fitness is, I think, needs to play a better role in that. And the equipment that we have at the station is outdated. It's getting very old. There's hardly any equipment at Station 2. So with this request, we're looking at changing some of the outdated equipment at Station 1 and then providing physical equipment for Station 2, because that's 1/3 of the staff on shift is at Station 2. Some of the questions I think that may arise as why physical fitness equipment and what's the difference. Some of the times a lot of people say, well, I go to a gym. I belong to a gym. I go to a gym and work out there. But it's a little different when you're trying to make yourself physically fit for fighting fires compared to making yourself svelte. You like that, svelte. Okay, so your Dunlop doesn't Dunlop over your belt type thing, that type thing.
Haven't heard that one in years.
You never heard that one. So the difference here is that the gym equipment needs to be of a professional grade, a little bit sturdier, and the activities that the firefighters do, we try to make it emergency response similar. So as the firefighters warm up with the gym equipment, they're usually in shorts and gym equipment that they normally do. But as they progress in their workout, and I have some of the workouts that they do, they progress into putting on their SCBAs while they're on the treadmill, while they're doing some lifting. They put on air masks. They have simulated air masks that give you restrictions as you would be breathing off your tank while you're lifting, and you're building that stamina in your lungs as well as your body, because you're now carrying more weight. Now you're carrying weight that's, off your center of gravity. And by tweaking those muscles and working those muscles, your muscles are getting stronger for that off-balance weight. So that's kind of one of the major reasons we're looking to purchase this equipment, and it'll give us the ability, and hopefully, and we'll have to monitor this, reduce some of our workman comp claims. One of the things that we have noticed in our response is that some of our patients are getting larger. Some of the patients that we have are elderly, but they're on a third floor, and we end up, we had one the other day where the person was on the second floor, broken hip. We couldn't use the stair chair. It's all stretcher type operations. You have to keep them flat, and it takes a lot of people to move a injured patient, trying to keep them flat and as comfortable as possible down multiple stairs. So physical fitness is very important. So I'm going to turn this over to Assistant Chief Pearson, and we're going to look at, I gave you the why, he's going to give you the what and what we're proposing.
Well, unlike the chief, I'm going to say good evening because it's been a very long day. Madam Chair, councilors, and Paul.
You need to move the microphone over. Thank you.
Merrimack Fire Rescue is always trying to move in a progressive direction, as well as striving to provide better service not only to our community, but
Is your button pushed? Apparently you're not being heard very well.
There you go. Start over again.
No, you can go ahead.
All equipment listed in this proposal has been intended to allow for training with a high specificity for fire and fire-related incidents, including EMS. And this allows our trainees to engage in a training philosophy that we call progressive overload, which is continual increase in demand on the musculoskeletal system to continually make gains in strength and endurance. When a trainee tends to increase their physical strength, muscular endurance, or cardiovascular capacity, we also need a reliable means to track their progress. Each piece of equipment in this proposal means to track the progress in a progressive manner. Each piece of equipment supports this with compound movements, with movements that create multiple muscle groups being the primary focus. Similar to the requirements set forth by the New Hampshire CPAT, which is the candidate physical abilities test that all professional firefighters need to take to get into the field. The equipment has been that we propose allows personnel to engage in physical training that is needed to be a professional firefighter. By adding this new equipment, we will be able to increase our responsibilities, the safety of our emergency responders, and perhaps even hopefully reduce workers' compensation insurance costs. Our proposal is the purchase of the fitness equipment listed within to allow our personnel to maintain their physical fitness, strength, and stamina necessary for the rigors of the firefighting and emergency medical professions. In conjunction with this equipment purchase, we are researching opportunities to develop a fitness program tailored to our job functions. The total cost of this equipment is $7,702.85. The Abby Griffin Trust Fund resources in the amount of $7,727 would allow us to fully fund this purchase. It is our sincere hope that you will give careful consideration to this proposal request, and we open to any questions.
Any questions from anyone? First of all, Bill?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. A.C. Pearson, and thank you for your presentation. I appreciate it. Excuse me. You alluded to progressive overload, and you talked a little bit about exploring ways to fund tailoring a program that would cater to that training philosophy called progressive overload. My question is there anybody on the firefighting staff that has a background involving progressive overload, or do they have a personal fitness background to help other firefighters with their specific training goals?
We do have some personnel on the department that do have a background in physical fitness and that, and they're looking to hopefully reach out to maybe get some other personnel outside of the department to assist us.
Do we expect any cost affiliated with that, or is somebody volunteering their time to help them out?
Do you want to handle that?
Currently, right now, with the program we set up, there's no additional cost for that.
Okay.
If we look down the future and that comes up, depending on what progressive training there is and what options are out there in years to come, depending on how this program works, that may be something that may come up in the future, but right now it is not.
Okay.
We currently have one individual who's a member of this department. He is actually, that was his major in college.
Okay. Another question. Thank you, Madam Chair. There, in the background, you talked about a 10-year study about wellness fitness programs indicating reduction as it relates to cardiac-related deaths. Ironically, last week there was a story in the Boston Herald where there was a study done on firefighters in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that were twice as likely to commit suicide as a result of post-traumatic syndrome from in-line activities that have occurred in the line of duty. One of the things that doesn't get talked about is that physical fitness has been shown to help people with, I don't want to say mental illness, but with mental health issues, has shown that physical fitness has had a positive impact on those particular individuals having mental health issues. So I really look at this as a positive, because it's probably one of the things we don't talk about, that, you know, as we've talked about philosophically in the past, that the fire department, it's more, you know, it's more first response, and it's preservation of property, and that first response piece is usually, you know, if it's not basic life support, it's advanced life support. So when you're going out to the turnpike and dealing with some of the bad accidents that we've seen over the past year, I know that I can only imagine that it's may have taken a toll on some of our firefighters. So I think it's good that we're giving them potentially the opportunity to work a lot of that stuff out and be able to not only build themselves physically, but build themselves mentally. So I commend you for looking at this, not just from the cardiac piece, but I also look at it from a mental health piece.
And just to highlight on that, PTSD syndrome, if you recall, probably a month or two ago, I did bring that up, that we're working with the state and our local hospitals to evaluate and review our team to make sure that we can get ahead of those issues if they do occur.
Yeah.
Chief Askey, thank you. Thank you, Nancy.
Pete?
Chief, just, and Bill kind of commented on that. So you guys are looking to maybe get one of your staff to become a qualified PT instructor to kind of keep
You
these
need
guys
to,
in the
microphone?
program. You guys are looking at possibly have a PT instructor or somebody qualified on your staff to keep these guys going on this type of program?
Well, we have a written program right now to get everybody started, and once that's evaluated for the first year, we'll determine what our next steps are, then we can bring that up at that point in time. But to say that I want to have somebody certified on staff, I'm not moving towards that at this point in time.
Okay. No, and I think, and I want to say, I think this is great. I think it's real-world physical conditioning for you guys. I think it's awesome. And the equipment I see here, I'm familiar with a lot of it, and I think it is consistent, and it'll help you guys work in that goal. So I think that's great, and you should be commended for it. You're going to let the police officers go work out over there once in a while?
As I said many, many times, we're all on the same team.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay, good.
Any other questions from the council? Go ahead, Brendan.
You have old equipment currently. Will you be so utilizing
They're
that?
going to give that old equipment to Station 2.
Actually, the firefighter.
Just kidding.
Going to cause a mutiny here.
I know.
No, we're not. Firefighter Dodge, who put the program
Well, some of
together,
it's still
he is
good.
actually he's heavy into fitness. He does powerlifting, competition, that type of stuff. He put this whole program together, and I allowed him to review all the equipment and divvy up good, bad, and what is needed in each station, so everybody has the same ability or very close to the same ability for physical fitness in both stations.
Of course, Station 1 has certainly the largest number.
That's correct.
So that's part of the
2/3 are at
decision.
Station 1,
Yeah.
1/3 at Station 2.
Okay, I'm going to separate the public hearing two sections. I'm going to open the public hearing now for the fire department, okay? So I'm going to open it at 7:48. Is there anyone here who would like to speak to the fire department section? Seeing none, I will close it at 7:49. And I would like to hold off any motions until the very end. Is that okay? Okay, Part B.
Thanks.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Chief.
Hey, Chief.
Chief Roy?
He said age before beauty. I don't know what he meant by that.
Have these guys been on vacation?
Yeah, how come you're tan?
They both look like they've been on vacation.
Yeah.
Both of you.
I'll tell you why he's tan.
Go right ahead.
Good evening. I do also know it's evening. It's been a long day. Thank you very much for letting us come here tonight. If I could, please, just for one moment. This afternoon, Officer Sean Gannon of the Yarmouth Police Department was shot and killed, along with his canine partner, who was also shot down in Yarmouth and Barnstable, Massachusetts today. So our thoughts and prayers go out to the members of the Yarmouth Police Department and his family as well. It's 6 years today since Officer Maloney was shot in Greenland, so it kind of hits home. It's very close. So for us, I felt we needed to say it. So thank you.
Thank you for mentioning that.
We do not need physical fitness equipment yet. We got that last year. I won't reiterate what the chief has already said, but we do appreciate the money that is donated to us for various items. This year, Lieutenant Kilkelly did a lot of work on something that we feel is necessary in town. As you may or may not know, I know Council Albert actually knows this intimately, our old traffic sign, our speed control sign, is over 20 years old. It works, or did work, intermittently. It needed to be charged every day. It required an officer to hook it up to a car, drag it someplace. Well, not drag it physically, but drive it, and then go get it at night. And it's just, it was becoming certainly cumbersome to do that. And then by chance, it happened to just live its last the last day. So it does not work anymore. And if anyone's not familiar with it, I do have a picture of it if you'd like to see it. But I think we've all seen it around town for 20 years. I'm sorry? Yes, yes. We actually tried, Lieutenant Kilkelly did a great job because we tried to repurpose it in order to save money and get a message board put onto it. But the actual unit itself is so old that the technology wouldn't have sustained. So we just can't use it for anything. So the speed limit signs and the speed detection signs are really important throughout town because there are certainly a lot of motorists who tend to exceed the speed limits that are posted. And residents contact us on a daily, weekly basis saying, you know, somebody's traveling too fast down my road. And we currently have a system where we have a detection device that we put out, and we can track the speeds of vehicles, but it's just for our purpose only, so that we can have the data and go back to the resident and say, this is what we found. Lieutenant Kilkelly has found one item. These items are less than 25 pounds. They're actually bracketed to either a speed limit sign or a telephone pole, and they can be put anywhere in town. We don't have to bring them out every day and take them in every night. They're locked, they're secured to whatever we secure it to. And the unit itself will actually last approximately a week. So, or is it longer than that? It's a week, up to 2 weeks. So we can actually leave it out there for a couple of weeks in an area that we know that there's a problem. The two signs, which Lieutenant Kilkelly did put the packet together for you, there are two. One of them is just the speed that flashes that detects the vehicle, and it also captures the data. The second sign is a little more expensive, but that actually we can use words to it, like slow. If you're going too fast, it'll say slow down, like for instance in a school zone. It also has emojis. We can put sad faces, mean faces. But then that also has a data collector attached to it as well. And the importance of the data collector is so that when we do have a resident who would like the speed sign up in their neighborhood on the street, not only does it show the driver what they're doing, but it also allows us to collect the data to put together and say, this is, you know, what the average speed that we found at this time of day. It keeps times, speeds, and everything. So
Does it take pictures?
no, it does not take pictures.
Okay,
We will not
just
be summoning
verifying.
people off of. This is simply just capturing speeds.
Speed.
Correct. It doesn't have any. There's no identifying vehicles or anything like that. So, anything?
Sorry.
What's important about this is a lot of neighbors, like neighborhoods, the perception is that vehicles are flying, and we get calls all the time, and they're really not. And this will give the neighborhood twofold. We'll collect the data of what the speeds are in it, and they can see actually what the speeds are firsthand. So, you know, if you're in a neighborhood and you're traveling every day, and your neighbor sees that you're going over the speed limit in that neighborhood, or, you know, Merrimack is 30 miles an hour in most parts. 30 miles an hour is fast in the neighborhood.
Small neighborhood it is.
So it really, what it'll do is it'll get residents trained to know exactly what speed is. You know, when you look at a car and when you're seeing it on a sign, actually written out in front of you, they'll know and get an idea what it is. And where in the signs, we can program it if, let's say, 5 miles over the speed limit, we can have the strobe lights flash on these signs. So what it does is it really brings the attention to it, and people, I've seen them firsthand in Londonderry. They've got a half a dozen or so throughout town, and it gets your attention, and the first thing you do is, oh my, you know, so. Yeah, exactly.
You're looking for the
It's better than driving at the sign.
But it's just a good attention getter for them to remind them of the speed limit that's posted out there, and you know, we can move it, because like anything, like the school signs, people get used to them and they don't see them anymore. You know, it happens in the school zones. First part of the school year, everybody's slowing down. They're going, you know, under 20 miles an hour. But as school's going on and every morning those signs are on, people don't see them anymore. And, they're coming down at 30 miles an hour, and they continue at 30 miles an hour until, we remind them it's, 20 miles an hour. So it's just a good tool.
So just for clarification, the one sign that does not have any wording on it, but does have the data collection, and it comes also with the brackets and for shipping, is, $3,124. And the second sign that does have the wording on it is $4,224, including the data collection, the brackets, and the shipping, for a total of $7,348.
You ready for questions? You all done with your present, Pete?
So, Chief, this puts to bed the old boat anchor trailer.
If you would like it, we could drop it off at your house.
No, thank you. I have fond memories of that trailer. Thank goodness. Does it also put the, and maybe the lieutenant can answer that, will it also give you the time of day on the speeds and stuff?
Yes, the data collector will be just like our current one we have.
Yep.
They'll give you the date and time and the speed. And we can actually download that daily off of Bluetooth sitting in the cruiser.
And, and understanding that this is probably a significant upgrade from the traffic data collector the department has is that, and I explained to the council, is if you have one problematic vehicle that's coming through the neighborhood or one particular time, the department can isolate that and maybe set up a radar patrol. If there is a particular issue or time. So I think that's what's nice about this as well. Now, these are mounted, I see there's brackets, but what do you mount them on?
We can put them on the regular speed limit sign posts. We can put on telephone poles. Really any pole. It's got different mounting capabilities.
Okay, so it's all handheld, all that.
Yes, yeah, it's lightweight.
Great, thank you.
Bill?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I noticed, Chief and Lieutenant, I noticed, excuse me, in the specs that it had the brackets for solar, but I'm not seeing that solar is included with this. So is it, are the batteries going to be, whenever you're using the battery dies, are you recharging at the station?
Yes.
And did you look at the solar, and was it more in excess of what was allotted?
We did look at solar, and that was our first thought, is get solar. But when you have the solar, you kind of need it permanently mounted in a location. Just because of the time that it takes to set it up. And it's about an extra $300-400 per unit.
Okay. Follow-up, Madam Chair?
Yes, go right ahead.
So when looking at and thank you for the materials you provided us, in the specs for the sign, it says your speed. Am I reading that correctly, that there's going to be, is that going to be like in any, like popping neon yellow color so that it really...
We have our choice of color. We can either have it in white, like a standard speed limit sign, or we can have it in that safety green.
I was hoping for safety green. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And I always thought it was yellow.
Tom?
Thanks. You also mentioned that you can program it not to flash until you've gone some limit over the limit or something. I presume you're going to do that, or? Because it's very frustrating to be going 31 and have this thing blinking at you all of a sudden. And
We will. It depends on the location. If it's in a neighborhood, it'll probably be coming on quicker. If it's on Continental Boulevard, we might give you a little.
Little leeway.
okay. What's the life expectancy of these? What's the lifetime?
I think we were going to get out of these as much as we got out of that radar trailer.
Oh, yeah.
It should be exceeding the 20 years. It's not going to take as much abuse as the radar trailer because the radar trailer was left outside year-round. These will be taken in. They'll be out in the weather. They're all weatherproof.
For a week or two.
But
potentially.
It won't be getting the weathered as the other equipment got.
And I saw somewhere in here a discussion about using the larger one for the school zone signs because of higher speeds. I wasn't sure I understood that association.
Well, as far as the larger one, meaning the wording, it's certainly easier for us to, as you probably have noticed through town, there are certainly numerous times where vehicles exceed the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit in the school zones. So the wording one will be able to say either school zone, reinforce that it's a school zone or say school zone slow down. So I think that's it.
I think what you're reading is, if we put them out on the Continental Boulevard where the speed limits are 35 miles an hour, you'd want the bigger sign, just to meet the standards.
Right.
The smaller sign's good in the 30 mile an hour speed limit, and where it's 40, like in other sections of town, we'd use the larger sign.
Yeah, I was just curious, because the statement says would be utilized in the school zones and our major roadways where the speed limits are higher.
Right, so
And associating the two of those in one sentence.
Yeah, so it'd be in a school zone because of, we can actually have it read when it flashes school zone on it. Just as a reminder, we wouldn't put it close to the 20 mile an hour speed limit, the school zone sign. We'd put it probably in the middle of the school zone.
Right.
So just a reminder as they go through. And it's also used in the higher speed limit areas.
Okay. So there's not an association of the two together, it's just,
Any
all right,
other-
thanks.
Any other questions? Seeing none, I'm going to open the public hearing at 8:01. And the crowd is not coming, so I'm going to say I'm going to close it at 8:02. Okay.
Thank you, Chief. Lieutenant.
Now, I would entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that the Town Council authorize the acceptance and expenditure of funds from the Abby Griffin Memorial Fund, the amount of, but not to exceed, $15,000 for the purchase of physical fitness equipment for the fire department and for 2 portable lightweight electronic speed signs for the police department pursuant to RSA 31:95-B and Charter Article 8-15, and furthermore, that the town manager or her proxy be authorized to sign documents necessary to accept and expend.
Motion made by Bill Boyd, second by Peter Albert. Any further discussion?
Yeah, am I missing something, or does this actually add up to more than 15,000 for these two that were presented?
It does not add up to more than 15, to the best of my knowledge.
All we have.
77 and 74?
4 comes out
Oh,
to,
sorry. So what's?
All we
About-
have is $15,000.
All you have is 15?
That's all they're giving us.
Oh, okay. Because
So it's still not to exceed.
I understand the
it
items
says
add
here
up
they've been
more.
allotted 7727, and that's not half of 1,500, so I
No.
was curious whether they were given 1,500 or whether there was a different allotment made for this year.
Because I was seeing the 62, you're right, it's over. So it would be 7.5 if it was split down the middle, right?
Yeah.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. Because the police are gonna be using what, 7.4?
74.
So that's $100
That leaves them
to
127
go to
short.
the fire. And the fire is 77,
770285.
right, so
Well, there's,
7.4,
okay.
even if they get $100 from the police, that's.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's $15,000 total that we're getting. It's over by $100. The fire department has other grants that to make up the difference, or they can take it out of their equipment line item in their own budget if they need to make up the difference. We have, Ivy Griffin has told us we have up to $15,000 they'll
Okay,
give
so
us for
the
this.
motion is still appropriate, because it's
Yes,
$15,000.
$15,000.
But it's understood that what's been requested is $100 over, and that will be made up on the fire department side. Okay.
Okay,
I understand.
thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? Seeing none, 700. Thank you very much, both.
Thank you.
All. Any legislative updates from state reps? Seeing none. Town managers report.
Okay, this kind of relates to, even though I'm not a state legislator, but I just wanted to let you know that the the recent hearings on the MS4 permit in the legislature, and pardon me because I don't know, I think it's a House bill at this point, are not going very well. So there was a hearing last week that Dawn attended, and she was very disappointed at the outcome of it and the lack of knowledge of the, committee chair and some of the people that were on the committee seemed not to understand the significance of this to the communities around the state. And so with that in mind, I have asked that House Representatives person, I don't know what his title, Dick Hinch, Majority Leader, come to a meeting with me and Kyle and Dawn on Wednesday, April 18th, to sit down and go over it, and so that he, with his influence, might be able to make people understand the magnitude of some of these things. And what I was kind of surprised at, and it's probably not appropriate for me to say, but that doesn't usually stop me, is that the town of, the city of Manchester who should have an enormous role in this and should be attending every single meeting and using their, muscle to push this thing through, doesn't really show up most of the time. And that's a problem. That's going to be an enormous problem for the city of Manchester, even more than us, of
what are
course.
they missing?
I don't know.
Leadership.
Must be, yeah. So anyway, I think that will be very helpful to get our own influential, representatives involved in this and knowledgeable about the impacts of this to the communities.
Nice.
And I also understand that the wastewater division will also be involved with the MS4 permit in much the same way. There'll be associated costs with that as well. And when we were meeting with Anheuser-Busch last week and the EPA this past week, they were talking about phosphorus and how the phosphorus as it comes down, phosphorus is one of the new the contaminants du jour, and the way the Merrimack River flows, each community will be responsible for the phosphorus that flows through their community, not where it's coming from. So, for instance, Concord is not involved in the program at all. So they have nobody's been able to answer that question as to why that is. But so even though Manchester's phosphorus-bearing contaminants are coming through Merrimack, if they are tested here in Merrimack, we're responsible for them. So it's just, the absurdity of the permit and what it's requiring goes way beyond what you would initially think. And so there's that. This is interesting. The library will be hosting an after-hours event called the Human Library. Library on Saturday, April 14th from 1:15 p.m. to 5 p.m. Attendees are invited to sign up for a 15-minute time slot, which was described during the staff meeting as speed dating, to have a discussion with one of our human books. So people who are volunteering to talk about one of the aspects of their lives, be it a challenge, unique ability, or life choice. More information about the event is, and a full list of the 13 book titles are available on the event page of the library's website. So for instance, we were asking Yvette, what type of person, what kind of issue might there be? And one of them was, I think one of them was going to be a Trump supporter. And one of them was going to be an atheist. And one of them was, they're not limiting what people's discussions may be, what their positions may be. It's just an interactive, like, learning from the person as to,
So people will move around and speak
Yes.
to these people.
yeah, whoever they're interested in. Whoever they're
Yeah, it's like-
interested in.
it's like a book.
You don't
You
sign
sign
them
the
out. You don't sign them out. Some of them you might not end up, you might not know where they might end up. So,
For delay overtime.
really? Yeah, what's your topic?
I have a scheduling conflict.
Oh.
It would be adoption and select.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I offered town council, but they said I would bore people to death.
Who told him that?
They had to dress up for it.
Yeah. Okay, so so that should be really interesting. And again, that's April 14th from 1:15 p.m. to 5 p.m. And everybody's welcome with any of their, with any of their topics to come in. Nothing's going to be censored or anything, I don't think. I shouldn't have said that, but
I could think of a couple of questions.
I shouldn't have said that, but I mean, yeah, yeah. So,
Can you burn the book?
We're getting carried away. Keep
yeah,
going.
yeah, because yeah, never mind. The transfer station will be closed on Wednesday, May 23rd for employee training. And the obsolete tennis courts that have been declared, specifically declared by the state/federal government on O'Gara Drive, will be permanently removed during the week of April 23rd when the school vacation week happens. And Nancy has coordinated that with the school board chairman, Shannon, to make sure that that's an appropriate time for that to happen.
Very good. Yes, Bill?
Thanks, Madam Chair. Through you to Eileen. Does Steve down at the transfer station, does he post the closing up on the sign? Because I'm just curious, with all the independent haulers that go in there and use the station, I wonder if we're giving them adequate notice that we're going to be closed on that particular day.
I don't know the answer to that, but I'll get it for you. And I think it's a
There's no
good.
need to get an answer,
I
I'm
think
just
it's a good
saying.
point. Yeah.
Thank you.
Get that sign, take advantage of it. Okay, hold on. Okay, there is no consent agenda. There's no old business, new business. The town council to consider appointing the following individual to a town committee pursuant to Charter Article 4-8, Tracy McGraw, Parks and Recreation Committee as a full member. I had the pleasure of being a person who was on the appointment committee. And she has, and at this time of her life, seems to have a little bit of free time. And she's been, yeah. And God forbid you have free time, you have nothing to do
I'm
with.
gonna ask her husband.
He has no free time. None at all.
So she would like to be, and as someone who's very knowledgeable about what's been going on with Parks and Rec. And obviously she's been highly recommended by the chair, who has already done a previous, presentation this evening. And I would highly recommend her approval.
Move approval.
Motion made by Bill Boyd, second by Finley Rothaus. Any other questions?
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? None. 700. If you come to me over to the microphone. We make it relatively clear. As I said during the interview, when I do all the interviews when people come in to volunteer, you need to know, and all the committees need to know, how much we appreciate the volunteerism that you provide the opportunity to this town. There's, many things that go on in this town people have no idea about unless they are specifically involved, like the dog park, whatever. But it's the combination of all the volunteers that gets a lot done within this town. And so we thank you for offering that. Now, what you want to do is, this is your oath. If you'll raise your right hand and actually read it into this microphone.
All right. I, Tracy McGraw, do solemnly swear and sincerely swear that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent on me as a full member of the Parks and Recreation Committee, according to the best of my abilities, agreeable to the rules and regulations of this Constitution and laws of the state of New Hampshire, so help me God. Thank you.
Thank you very much again, Tracy.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tracy.
In a way, it seems a little anticlimactic, doesn't it?
Yeah, especially after sitting through the whole meeting.
Exactly.
Yeah, you guys don't have to stay now.
Maybe the-
Very much. Have a good night.
Thank you very much,
Appreciate
Tracy.
your help.
We just signed this one thing. I'm going to move it around. Okay, I can be signing this while people talk about the next. Okay. Town manager annual evaluation. Just want to be able to make a statement for the public that the yearly evaluation for the town manager has been satisfactorily completed and has a satisfactory outcome. We just want to make sure that's public, okay, and that's part of the information we need to submit. Okay, one thing that's not on the agenda is something that Jackie Flood needs to talk about.
Yes. With reluctance, I am submitting my resignation from the town council effective April 19th, 2018, because of family responsibilities. It has been an honor to serve as a counselor in the town that has been my home of choice through my whole adulthood. I found many interesting issues, some serious, others complex, all of them worthy of consideration, and all treated with attention by my fellow counselors. I will miss the variety of discussion by the council and the staff who devote diligence, seriousness, skill, and knowledge to help prepare for the best outcomes for the town of Merrimack. And on a personal note, I do want to say that nothing is terribly serious. It's just taking my time and focus. I don't want anybody to worry.
Yeah, worry about what's happening to Jackie.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, poor Jackie.
Well,
But
first
thank
thing-
you very much for all of your friendship and concern.
Well, I know a lot of us are going to want to make a comment, but first of all, I'd like to get some business done. I would like to have a motion to declare a vacancy on the town council effective April 19th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Bill Boyd to declare a vacancy. Well, do we accept the
We've never-
resignation?
What if you don't?
We've never accepted, we didn't accept Dan's, we didn't accept Tom's, no Jody's.
No emptiness until.
Looking under, okay, can we adjust the motion?
Absolutely,
To
Madam Chair.
accept with regret the resignation of Councilor Jackie Flood, and also to declare the vacancy, as a result, the vacancy effective April 19th.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Bill Boyd, and I saw your hand go first, Finley. Okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And you're abstaining, I'm assuming.
My what?
You're abstaining from
She's
that?
opposing,
Yeah, I'm abs-
she's opposing the motion.
601.
On second thought.
Jackie, an abstention. And before we go any further, we do have
Oh.
business to take care of, but let's take care of this first.
Oh,
I know, I'm so glad we were able to get this done.
Oh, yeah.
First of all, I just want to make a comment about how this has come down. Jackie spoke to me a short time, very short time before the elections, and talked about the possibility of her resigning from the council. At that point, my thought was, gee, the election was right around the corner. I think it was like within a week.
No.
And it would be too bad that if, in fact, the decision was made that you were going to leave, that position couldn't be put in the ballot. We called the Secretary of State just to see, and they said, no way. It was much too late. So I said to Jackie, well, that's great. Maybe you'll change your mind.
Oh.
Maybe you'll come to a point where you really don't want to. So in the interim, you have thought about it and have decided that you're going to.
Yes.
So I just want to make sure that the public knows that that's the process that occurred, that we would have put it on the ballot had we had enough time, but we didn't. So we're going to have to go with the procedure, which we'll talk about in a minute. But in the meantime, I do want to read a plaque that we're going to give to Jacqueline, quote, Jackie Flynn, in recognition of the dedicated service you have given for a total of 5 years as a town councilor for the town of Merrimack. It is a pleasure to present you with this plaque. Your dedication and donation of countless hours has made Merrimack a better place to live and work. In addition to the previous service you provided from 2010 to 2013, we wish to extend to you our sincere appreciation for your outstanding performance April 2016 to April 2018. Presented on the behalf of the town of Merrimack, this 12th day of April 2018.
Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.
I'm going to give you a hug.
Oh, thank you very, very much. That's
Okay, now
beautiful.
you can sit and listen to all what we're going to say about you.
That is beautiful. Okay, I gotta go now.
It's not a roast, eh?
Beautiful. Isn't that pretty?
Okay, who would like to start
Like
or
to
say
start.
something? Tom?
Yeah, I'll start down here. We'll go this way.
Okay.
So I haven't been on the board much with Jack on the council, but I was with her on the Parks and Rec board, and of course she's known me since I've been in kindergarten, which is only like 20 years ago, so it's not that old.
Very cute kindergartner.
But it's
More
a pleasure.
than.
She brings a smile to everyone. She's always makes me laugh, and truly, I'll miss you, and know everyone else will miss you as well.
Thank you, Tom.
Tom?
We'll just go around the table. Jackie, thank you so much for the effort that you put in to work with us, the integrity, the honesty, the sometimes settling down of hot tempers and things like that, and then every once in a while your own temper. But you know, we're all counselors.
Like
we're
that.
all here trying to do the best we can for Merrimack, and you've certainly shown that you care a lot about Merrimack, and we've certainly all benefited from your input, your knowledge, your expertise, and just your concern. And so thank you so much. It's been a real pleasure to work with you here on the town council and throughout town as well.
Thank you, Tom.
I'll do Finley. I'll take the rear end.
Actually, I met Jackie the first time, I believe it was in 1989.
Oh, you're gonna bring that up again.
It was in my first home, almost 30 years younger than today, and she walked up my 325-foot-long driveway to ask for
Uphill.
my vote in a special election for state rep.
Uphill.
Yeah, uphill, and she won a race that I wouldn't have imagined she would have won, but I'm sure it was all that hard work of that campaign, and then it has continued in all these years with all the endeavors you've made. And I'm going to miss you. I'm pretty sad that you're heading out, but I definitely appreciate all you've done, and hopefully will continue to do.
Thank you, Finley,
Thanks,
very
Jackie.
much. It's been also a pleasure to serve with you on the Town Center Committee and the garage.
Yes, yes. Which I'm hoping you stay there on the garage with.
Yes, just to make it that public, I've asked Jackie, we do have a representative on that garage committee from the council, which is Finley, but Jackie's also been involved, and she's been asked, and I believe has agreed to.
Yes, yes.
Continue on, since she's been involved in the beginning, as a citizen rep.
Yes, that's
So
great.
she's
Yeah.
going to continue with that. Peter?
Well, Jackie, we've worked together as counselors for a year, and I appreciate the leadership and the example you've set for me, and It's kind of like the other folks here have kind of said, is that you bring a balance to, you've brought a balance to the council and a calmness and at times, and it's been much appreciated. I don't know, I guess I'm gonna have to buy my own Tic Tacs from now on. But thank you for everything.
Thank you very much, Pete. I feel the same about you.
Bill?
Jackie, there's really not much that I can say that my colleagues have said that I absolutely agree with. I would be really redundant to repeat all of it. But the one thing that, the two words that do stand out in my head is most certainly Tom Koenig's word of integrity. It's impeccable. It's flawless. Nobody can ever question that about you. It's one of the things I've learned about you in my deliberations as a counselor serving with you over the past 5 years. But the second word that also comes to mind is grace. You bring grace to this proceedings, both in private conversations and public. The grace adds levity to a particular situation. And for me, there are two important takeaways that I'm going to do my best to carry with me as I move forward as a counselor, that it'll be the WWJD. It won't be what would Jesus, it'll be what would Jackie do. So I do appreciate everything that you've done for this community. I wish you and Peter health and happiness, and I really thank you for continuing on with the work on the garage. But I'm going to miss what you bring to the deliberations here on the council. And like I said, I wish you nothing but health and happiness.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Bill.
Jackie.
It's been a pleasure serving with you.
Same
too.
here.
Thank you
Last
very
but
much,
not least,
Nancy.
it's being redundant. What everyone said everything. And I just realized, you've been involved with this town in varying capacities for many years.
Many years.
And and I have a feeling you will continue to do that.
I hope so.
It'll just be in different capacities, and as your life goes, I'm going to see you around town, no question. But I
so.
thank you for all those years of service, for varying capacities, and also mostly this. And thanks for leaving the ladies here. I'm the only one left out.
know.
Unless we get, no, I'm talking about town mage, but us. Unless someone applies, which I'll tell you about when we do the appointment. Okay. Hint, hint. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you, Nancy, very much.
Okay, unfortunately, because of your circumstance of leaving, I do want to note to the public that there is a procedure that we have initiated that we've done in the past. We're going to continue it. We have to be able to fill the vacancy within 21 days after April 19th. Based upon that, the following is the schedule for the procedure that we're going to be going forward with. Any citizen who is interested in filling the vacancy would please write a letter of intent by Friday, April 27th, by 4:30 p.m. to the town manager. Okay? So a letter to the town manager expressing interest to be appointed to the town council by Friday, April 27th. The interviews will occur May 2nd and 3rd, that's a Wednesday and Thursday, depending upon the number of applicants we have. If it's a small number, it'll just be one evening. Yes?
Nancy, can we ask the candidates also with a letter of intent, maybe put a resume or something there to help the board too? Prior to the interview?
Yes, that'd be fine. We've never done that. In fact, people have submitted, but we've never made that official. Fine, so does the council agree to that?
Absolutely.
I think it's a good idea. So it's a letter of intent and a resume. And then on the town council meeting on May 10th will be when the appointment is made. Okay? What has been done in the past is the interviews have been done. We invite all the applicants to come forth on that last date, May 10th. They have a couple of minutes to present themselves to the public and what they want the public to know about them. And then the council makes a decision on the appointment that evening, and that person is given the oath that evening. Okay?
So what if
Yes,
no
John.
one comes forward? I gotta ask the question.
Well, deal with that when it happens, I suppose. So I would strongly encourage, strongly encourage anyone in the community to put their name in.
And the length of their term?
Thank you. Length of the term would be 1 year until the next election. Then they'd have to go into the election process. You have 1 year left anyway, right?
Yeah.
So it would be the 1 year, and then it would be a 3-year term after that to be reelected.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. So the unfortunate business we have to take to complete. Nothing like this happened, but again, all of us, I know I speak for all of us, who wish you the very best, Jackie.
Thank you very much.
Okay, down to finishing up the business for the evening. Approval of minutes, March 14th.
Madam Chair, move the Town Council special session minutes of Wednesday, March 14th, 2018 is presented.
Motion made by Bill Boyd, second by Tom Koenig. Any changes? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. 7-0-0.
I abstain.
Okay, thank you. I was trying to think if you were 6-0-1.
It says I wasn't there.
No, that was town meeting,
That,
Jackie.
no, this is a different
14th
one.
is town meeting. You weren't there the next night, the
Oh,
15th.
okay, thank you.
Later on, there was another one.
Okay.
So it's 7-0-0.
All righty.
March 15th is when you weren't there, Jack.
Okay.
So March 15th, motion to accept.
Madam Chair, I move that the Town Council meeting minutes of Thursday, March 15th, 2018 be approved with the following modifications.
Motion made, second by Tom Thornton.
Page 8, beginning at line 29, Wolfram has a Vaughn in the middle. So wherever his name is presented, we add the word Vaughn between either Wolfram and Schoen or Mr. and Schoen where
Capital
appropriate.
V-O-N, correct?
Correct.
And a lowercase v.
It's lowercase.
It is
Correct.
lowercase.
Yep, it's lowercase.
Wolfram Vaughn, lowercase V-O-N. Thank you.
Okay. On page 12, line 37, can we verify that Solitude Lake Management does indeed capitalize the word "Sol" in there? Otherwise, it should be lowercase.
Do you see where it says, Paul?
Solitude Lake Management?
So you'll verify that? Okay.
Okay. And then lastly, on page 16, actually, that's in relation to the minutes of January 25th, so I'm okay with that. Thank you.
Any other changes? Yes, Pete?
Page 5 would be line 25.
Mike?
Your microphone, please.
Page 5, line 25. It indicates that I, myself, he questioned if the town had to purchase the MVD, where the funds would go. It's where the funds would go would be a question mark, I would imagine, not a period.
Yeah, yeah. You all set? Any more? Nothing? Okay, all those in favor of these minutes with the corrections, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody? No, and Jackie, you're abstaining, right? So 6-0-1, Jackie Flood abstaining. March 22nd.
I was not at that meeting.
Whoop, I'm turning to the page here. I need a motion, since our motion person wasn't present.
So moved.
That would be Tom Thornton, seconded by Peter Albert. Any changes? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Any abstaining? 2. So that would be 5-0-2. Bill Boyd and Finley Rothaus abstaining. Comments from the press? Seeing none. Comments from the public? Also seeing none. Comments from the council? Bill?
Go Bruins, go Celtics. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Even the Red Sox are doing good.
Yeah, Red Sox.
Anybody else? Tom?
I just want to thank everyone for voting for me for Election Day, so going to the next board for one more year. So thank you.
Except for that one guy.
Yeah. Except for that one, but that's all right.
Anybody else?
I would follow up to say, thank you again to the folks in Merrimack who supported me. Thank you.
And I might as well finish up.
Well, let me just
Oh,
throw
go
mine
right,
in
you
real
do
quick.
yours first.
I would also thank the town of Merrimack for putting me back on the council for another 3 years. I look forward to the opportunity and appreciate the support of the town.
And again, last but not least, I was last to speak, so moved. I want to thank, but I'm also very pleased, thank you for voting confidence in my ability. I'll try to continue to represent the town. And I'm very pleased, and I congratulate everyone else who was reelected, and we're going to have another good year. Busy, I'm not going to say it's not going to be busy, but another good year. And I think if we all maintain respect for each other and have us a little bit sense of humor, we'll be just fine. Right? We have to laugh at ourselves. I'll be the first one. Okay, and that's it.
Motion to adjourn?
Made by Tom Thornton, seconded by Peter Albert. All those in favor say aye. Aye, 700.
I oppose, Madam Chair.
Too late.
She marked it down already.